You are born at the end of the 18th century in a Serbian village that smells like wet earth. Your father farms. Your mother weaves. As you grow, your older brothers, Marco and Luca, teach you the important things. How to fish without scaring the trout. How to wrestle without crying when you lose. How to climb the trees your mother specifically told you not to climb. Sundays mean church. Incense so thick you can taste it. Priests chanting in Old Church Slavonic, and your mother crossing herself so many times you lose count. Your favorite day is Slava, your family's patron saint's day. The whole village comes. Your father breaks the Slavski kolak, the ceremonial bread, and honey drips onto the table like liquid gold. You eat kaliva, a dish made of sweetened berries, nuts, and seeds until your stomach hurts. Everyone sings. Even your grandmother cries happy tears. You want every day to be like this. You are 8, playing with friends by the stream when you hear screaming. Not normal screaming, the kind that makes your stomach drop before your mind catches up. You run back from the stream and find the village square full of strangers. You see men in red uniforms, mothers grabbing sons, fathers frozen, fists clenched, doing nothing. Without warning, your mother drags you home and shoves you under grain sacks in the cellar. You hear her crying. You have never heard your mother cry before, but her plan does not work, because you're found. The men in red pull the sacks off and haul you to the square. An officer grabs your jaw and tilts your head. He checks your teeth like your livestock. He strips you half naked in front of your entire village. He asks you to speak. You stammer something in Serbian. He nods to the scribe. Mark him. It is at that moment your father pushes through the crowd, begging. The officer cuts him off without looking up. Imperial decree, 1 boy per 40 households. Your mother also tries to grab you, but a guard shoves her to the ground. They dress you in red clothing and a red conical hat, so you're visible if you run. They also charge the costs to your family's tax bill. You don't understand the irony yet. You and 20 other boys are led away from your village. You look back once and see your mother on her knees, your father holding her, and your brothers staring at you from the crowd, helpless for the first time in their lives. Before long, the village disappears over the hill. Your journey begins with a long walk. Your feet bleed. Your hat is too big. A 10-year-old near you tries to run on the 3rd night. They catch him and beat his feet with a falika, a wooden rod, until he starts bleeding. Then they make him walk the next day anyway. No one tries to escape after that. After 6 weeks of walking, you arrive. Constantinople. It is bigger than anything you've ever seen. You're taken to a building where they strip you and examine you. A man with a blade approaches. You don't know what's happening until suddenly the pain hits. Circumcision. No warning. No medicine. Just a blade and hands holding you down while you scream. When it's over, someone writes in a ledger, Mehmet. That's your name now. Your old name is forbidden, and you're now registered as a Turk. They put you on a cart heading east, to a farm near Bursa, to a family that doesn't speak Serbian. You don't speak Turkish, so life there is an extreme sport. You work the fields from sunrise to sunset, planting, weeding, hauling water until your shoulders ache. At night, you cry for your mother. The farmer's wife slaps you for it. You learn to cry silently. Then, you learn not to cry at all. Turkish comes slowly through work. Water, plow, faster, again. You still pray in Serbian at night, quietly under your breath. But 5 times a day, they face the holiest place in Islam, Mecca, to pray, and you copy their movements. You don't understand the Arabic words. It doesn't matter. Repetition is its own understanding. By year 3, Turkish comes easier than Serbian. You even catch yourself dreaming in it. When you try to say bread in Serbian, the Turkish word comes out first. The first time it happens, you panic. Then you stop panicking. After all, what's the point? You're 13 now, taller, stronger, hands calloused like a man's. You try to remember your mother's face. You can't. You remember she had dark hair. You remember she cried. But her face, it's gone. And to make matters worse, the dreams start. In the dreams, you're always back at Slava. Someone is breaking bread. Honey is dripping. You smell Kaliva so strongly you can taste it. Everyone is singing and crying happy tears. But anytime you reach for the bread, you wake up. And it keeps happening. Once a week, twice a week, the same dream over and over. But you still never see faces. You feel like your mind is trying to make you never forget. Like somewhere underneath all the Turkish and Arabic, your 8-year-old self is still in there, knocking. But it's no use. By the time you turn 15, you've forgotten the Saint's Day. You pray in Arabic automatically. Even your Serbian is almost gone. The dreams still come, but you pay them no mind. Months later, you're told you'll be going back to Constantinople for training. You nod. It was never your choice to make in the first place. You get to Constantinople and are immediately taken to a walled compound near the old city. They call it a semi-Oglen barracks, meaning novice boys. There you see over 500 boys just like you, all aged 15 to 20. An instructor with a scar running from his eye to his jaw stands before all of you. He says you're Janissaries now, the Sultan's property, his weapons, his sons. He explains that the Sultan doesn't trust the Turks. They have families, tribes, and loyalties that aren't his. But you have nothing. You were taken because you're Christian, foreign, and blank. That when you're sent to fight your own people, you won't hesitate, because you'll have forgotten them. After the address, you're assigned to the 64th Orta. They say it's your regiment now, your unit, your life. 50 boys are crammed in a room. Your meals come from a communal pot called a kazan. It is the soul of your regiment. It signifies your shared roots, suffering, meals, and identity. Training begins, and it's brutal. Drop your musket, beaten. Complain, beaten. Cry, falaka. And after every beating, you're required to kiss the instructor's clothing and thank him. The first time it happens to you, you refuse. You're beaten until you do it. The second time, you do it without being asked. By the third time, you don't feel anything anymore. Next is firearms training. You load powder, tamp, load ball, tamp, prime pan, aim, fire. Again, again, again. The goal is to make 3 shots per minute. European armies fire once per minute, so you have to be better. Your hands blister, then callous, then move automatically. You learn to load and fire without thinking. Years pass in the barracks. Same drills, same beatings, same communal pot. You've just turned 17 when the routine becomes unbearable. A Greek boy named Hamid pulls you aside one evening. He's grinning like someone who's already decided to do something stupid. He tells you he found a way out. He tells you that there is a passageway behind the 3rd brick from the corner of the drainage tunnel by the east wall. 3rd brick from the corner. You should say no. Getting caught means death. Still, you say yes. That night, 5 of you crawl through 50 paces of filth and darkness and come out the other side into cool air and empty streets. No drills, no kazan, no instructor. Just Constantinople. Quiet, enormous, and completely indifferent to your existence. For the first time since Serbia, you feel like you belong to yourself. The feeling gets so addictive that you sneak out after dark once a week. It's on one of those escapades that you meet her, Fatima, a young woman who runs a fabric shop. She caught you staring. Then she looks at you. Your posture, hands, and even the way your eyes sweep the street are a dead giveaway. "You're from the barracks," she says. That was not a question. You tense. But she ignores you and goes back to folding cloth. You come by the next week, and the week after. You don't talk much. She doesn't either. Every time you come, you just sit in the corner while she works, and for an hour, you feel like a person. And just like that, it becomes a minor ritual you both perform unknowingly. 3 years after your first encounter with Fatima, you turn 20. You pass your training in that period. You're given a white felt cap, a musket, and salary. You're not a boy anymore. You're a weapon. At the graduation ceremony, you stand in formation in front of the Sultan with 200 men. Men who have become your brothers while your real ones have been forgotten. You stand in perfect lines, perfect silence, all of one mind. And just then you realize that you haven't dreamed of home in 2 years. Not of your father, nor of your mother, not even of your brothers fishing. And that's when you smile, as you believe that you're finally free. Immediately after the ceremony, you're deployed to Greece. It's the 1800s, and the Greeks are revolting against the empire. Something about independence, freedom, and the usual things people die for. Your commanders call it a rebellion. They also call the shots. So, you march south to Peloponnese with your Orta. Your first real battle is at Tripolitsa against rebel soldiers. By the time you get there, the rebels have already barricaded themselves inside. It doesn't take long before the barricade is breached. Your regiment is first to get through. You move the way you were trained to move. Low, fast, and with no hesitation. You shoot. And then something strange happens. Through the smoke, you hear the rebels screaming at each other. Their language is not Turkish. It sounds familiar. Something old. Something you can't quite place. The feeling lasts maybe 2 seconds. Then your muscle memory takes over. You reload. You advance. You don't stop. When it's over, the city is quiet in an unsettling manner. That night, you dream of your brother Marco looking at you across the water. "Why did you leave?" he says. You wake up shaking. You can't believe it. You haven't thought of him in 5 years, and there's still no time to think about it as you and your Orta began the march back to Constantinople. During the march, you watch the older Janissaries, the Korbachi, which literally means soup maker. You see their soft hands, jewelry laden with no scars. Most haven't fought in decades. They all stayed at a safe distance, watching the rest of you fight for the empire. But they'll also be the first to claim merits. Some are even from Janissary noble houses, which means their ancestors were the real Janissaries. They, on the other hand, are just playing dress-up. You catch one staring at you. Then he pulls you aside. He asks why you work so hard. He tells you Janissaries run this empire, that fighting is for the young and the stupid. He laughs. You don't. The empire you were built to serve is being quickly eaten by the men who were entrusted to guard it. And now, you're one of them. 2 years later, you marry Fatima. She's the only person who ever saw you and said nothing. You believe she's your safe place. Once upon a time, you couldn't have gotten married. But the rules have been relaxing for decades now. That's how much your kind has been able to hold the empire hostage. A year later, your son is born. You name him Mustafa. You hold him for the first time, and something cracks open inside your chest. Not pain. Joy. Finally, somebody that you can call family. And as you look at his tiny, screaming red face, you think, I want better for him. Until you realize you have no idea what better means. The only life you know is this one. In your search for better, you move out of the barracks. You help Fatima run the fabric shop. Technically, Janissaries aren't supposed to trade. But nobody cares. Half your Orta run businesses. Your Korbachi owns 3 shops and hasn't touched a musket in 15 years. He also pockets the annual pay of 120 ghost soldiers who don't exist. You know this, because you helped him count the coins once. Life goes on like this for the next few years. The Janissary's corruption gets bigger. This makes palace advisors start to push against your kind. They tell the Sultan that Janissaries are a cancer to the empire. You're worried. But your superiors are not. Well, that is until January 1826, when the Sultan Muhammad II makes an announcement that the Janissary Corps will be reformed. He says it will be modernized and integrated with European tactics. He even calls it an upgrade. Your Orta erupts. In the meeting that follows, your superiors scream that reform means accountability, and accountability means losing everything. One of them reminds the room of Osman II, a sultan who tried this exact thing 2 centuries ago. The Janissaries strangled him for it. The threat hangs in the air. Months pass, and Constantinople is still simmering. Negotiations are ongoing. You believe it'll end peacefully. One day you wake up to the news that Janissaries have overturned the capital. Negotiations failed, so it's time to use force. You join your Orta, not because you believe in it, but because everyone is watching. Because the men around you have been your brothers for 10 years, and when they move, you move. And just like that, 135,000 Janissaries march on Topkapi Palace. You're somewhere in the middle of the crowd, swept along like a leaf in a current. The plan is to intimidate the Sultan with numbers, to make him appear and back down. And he does appear, just not in the palace, but in the streets. He's holding the banner of the Prophet Muhammad, the most sacred relic in the empire. There are Islamic religious leaders, imams, behind him. He even has the entire religious establishment accompanying him. He raises his voice over the crowd. These men are enemies of Islam, traitors to the Prophet, and corrupt heretics. Finally, with the fakest tears you've ever seen, he begs the good Muslims to destroy you. And just like that, the entire city turns on you. Immediately, all 135,000 armed men suddenly start running. Not forward, but back. 4,000 of you run back to the barracks where it all began, probably because it's the only place you all feel safe in. You're inside with 4,000 others when the doors are barred shut from the outside. You hear it, the iron bolt, the chains, and the silence after. Then the cannons. The first shot hits the roof. The second hits the wall. The third sets the east wing alight. Wooden beams, canvas bedding, straw mattresses. Everything catches at once. Smoke first, then heat. Men screaming, pushing, crushed between walls that aren't moving. You can't see. You can't breathe. You are going to die here, in the same barracks where they made you. And then, pressed against the stone wall, lungs burning, 4,000 men dying around you. Your body does something your mind would never have chosen. It starts to pray. Not in Turkish, not in Arabic, but in Serbian. The Lord's Prayer. The one your mother taught you before you even knew what prayer was. You don't decide to say the words. They just come. Like they were waiting all along underneath everything else. Like no matter what they wrote on top of you, the original was still there. And as you pray, the smoke clears for 1 second near the base of the east wall. And you see it. Your old secret passageway. You forgot it existed. You forgot it for years. But your child self remembered. The part they couldn't reach. The part that dreamed of Slava, Koliva, and brothers fishing in a stream. You crawl while everyone else runs the wrong way. Your hands find the third brick. You pull. It moves. You go in with lungs burning and knees bleeding. You don't stop. You emerge into open air near the old mosque ruins. Cold morning light. Empty street. You're alive. Behind you, the barracks are roaring. You feel the heat on your back without turning around. Immediately, you run toward your house. Constantinople is chaos. Citizens in the streets with clubs and knives. Anyone in a white felt cap is a target. You rip yours off. Your musket goes in a drainage ditch. You are just a man now. A man running through smoke. Fatima is in the doorway when you arrive. She's heard the cannons. Her face, relief and terror at once. They're killing all of us, you say. We have to go. She doesn't argue. You grab Mustafa. He's 3 years old now. A bag of coins and 2 cloaks. Nothing else. By dawn, you're out of Constantinople. And in your mind, there's only one place left to go. A place where you do not have to speak Arabic. A place where you can eat all the koliva you want. A place where your real family is.